What is your full name?
My full name is just Gertrude. They said that was long enough.
So you don't have a middle name?
I don't have any middle name. I made myself like Gertrude Moore now. I have Gertrude Moore Wallace, that way.
Okay.
But no, they never gave me a middle name. They just said Gertrude was long enough.
Were you named after anybody?
Yes, I was named for my aunt. They called her Aunt Gert.
Mm-hmm.
She's from Erie, Pennsylvania.
Is she on your mother's side or your father's
It
side?
was her sister.
Okay. What state were you born in? What town?
Clayton, Delaware.
Were you born at home or in a hospital?
Out home. They didn't take you to hospitals then.
Yeah. When was your birthday?
July 15th, 1907.
And how old are you now?
I'm 90,
Okay.
going on 91. I'll be 91 in July.
Are you right-handed or left-handed?
Right?
And then what's your spouse's name?
Richard Wallace.
Okay. Do you remember your anniversary date?
No, I don't. We were married down in Virginia, I think it was. We ran off and got married.
When did you meet him?
Well, I met him through when I worked at Bowman's department store in the hairdressing part. I was at the desk to take, reservation or, arrangements for hair dues. And his let me see, cousin worked in there. And that's how I met. I was very friendly with them. She was married to a dentist in Harrisburg, Annie. And so I was at their home a lot in Harrisburg. And when he would come there, I met him.
Did you date for a while before you were married?
Yeah. Yes, it was his idea. I wasn't thinking of getting married. He wanted to get married, so we went off. We lied a little bit, but in a way, but we did what we were lying about. But we lied and said we were going to see my aunt in Wilkes-Barre. No. See that now? Those things I can picture, but I can't remember the name. It's right outside of Pittsburgh, and that instead of going right to my aunt's place, we ran off and got married down in Virginia, and then came back and visited my aunt. Which we didn't really lie about it, but I don't remember how long it was. We lived like that. I mean, he would visit her, and most of my friends and all, nobody knew that we were married. And then finally, this cousin I met through him through her. We finally told she and her husband that we were married, but they kept it a secret too.
Yeah. But why did you have to hide the fact that
His mother said that if ever he did get married or anything happened, now this was even before he knew me and all, but she said if he ever, would get married, that his wife would have to support him. And he was going to college at the time, medical college.
Then you told your family after you graduated?
No, it was right before he graduated. He would stop on his way lots of times from Pittsburgh, his home. His mother and father lived in Pittsburgh, and when he'd come through, he would stop, usually at his cousin's, but I was home, and he told me that he was going to tell my folks this, and so we were all sitting at the dining room table, he was, there eating, and all different of my mother's friends, they came in. There was a dentist lived in Middletown, and his wife was up there, and somebody else came in. I forget who it was, and it was like a family, a gathering, and so he told them that he had something to tell them, and so he told them, and they thought that he was going to say that they'd just gotten married, or we're going to get him married or something. And when he told them how long we had been married, secretly, it really surprised them very much.
I can imagine.
Then he went on to college and finished his, and even his mother didn't know it, see. He went back, when he went, the two of us went back then later on to his home, and then we told him there, and out in Pittsburgh, that we had been married. So then, of course, he had an internship, and it was right outside of Pittsburgh that he went as an intern. And then he finally ended up in
Was it off the coast of Maine?
Was it? It was in Maine, yeah. He went to Maine. That's where he wanted to practice. And one of the doctors had just died there, and so he went and took his place there, and that's where I went in and stayed. We had our home there, and then it was short. It wasn't too long. See, then after that, he was treating a patient, and he punctured his finger. He had this emergency bag that he carried, and he had used it for an injection for a patient who had meningitis or something like that. And he ran his hand down in the bag, and the thing punctured his finger. And so I think it was that night, I guess it was. I don't know whether it was that night, but it was, he was in bed, and he complained about this terrible headache he had. And so I said something about calling a doctor, and he said, well, it's too late now anyway, and he knew what he had done, and he just knew he was going to die. And so I called them, this telephone, people had telephone exchange, lived right across the street from us, and that was their home too. And he came over. He heard me. He had listened on the phone that I was calling this doctor. Yeah. And then this man came over and stayed with me. And the doctor came, and he didn't live much longer after that. They had the doctor from it was right outside of Bangor that the doctor was. He helped at a hospital too, see. And this doctor came from there, and then they had some of the women that we knew were nurses, and they were all there, when to take care of him. And he took sick and died within 48 hours. So it was a rough time.
Yeah.
So we brought his body back then to Middletown, to be buried. And then I stayed a lot out in Pittsburgh with mother-in-law, she was very good. And that's about it. Just,
Did you work when you were in Pittsburgh?
no, I didn't work there, no. I didn't, well, I worked an awful lot, all my young life. I worked in Middletown. I worked, there was a woman who had it's, I don't know whether you'd remember or not, there's a, downtown, there's a, well, it's, you know Willa McNair's, the home? Wilda McNair just died, and they have, there's like in the front, there's a store, little store, and there's about 2 different shops there.
Uh-huh.
And there was at the beginning there, it was this woman's, that lived in the house back there, McNair's. She had a brother who had sold papers and news, you know. And then in the next little shop was hers. She had a tea room. And I worked in that tea room. Oh, I was in my teens then. I worked in there. That was before I was married.
The tea room is just like...
it was, at that time, it was a soda fountain.
Uh-huh.
And we sold sandwiches. And it was mostly all the young people gathered there. It was just a gathering, really, for young people. I mean, the older people could be there, you know, but I mean, it was mostly the young people there. It was quite a nice little shop, and I worked out at the base. Oh no, before that, I worked for the railroad.
Which one?
Pennsylvania.
Uh-huh.
My father, he had been an agent. I mean, what do you call him? He was ran, you know, certain areas that he was charge of, and he had his office with his people there, and then he took care of them. He was responsible for all the tracks from, say, Harrisburg to Philadelphia, you know, that way. And no, I worked for, and then I worked, as I say, I worked for the railroad and in the office, and not in his office, though, but in the station. I sold tickets and took care of all, you know, and it was during the war, and you'd see these soldiers on the trains, you know, coming through, and it was quite interesting. And but I was on that, and then after Dick died, then I came back home here, and I got out here at the base, and I worked all over the base. I was just in all kinds of things out there. And
did you work for the base for a long time then?
Yeah. They finally, when the base was to be closed, I was supposed to be transferred to down south somewhere, you know, where the base was going to go, you know, and I didn't want to go. I didn't want to go down there. And so then they transferred me over to Mechanicsburg. And I worked in Mechanicsburg base over there for a while. I hated it. And then I left there. Well, I just worked for the railroad. I mean, for the government until I retired, really.
Okay.